everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a thought experiment, a what if scenario that could have profound implications for America. Now, for generations, Black Americans have shaped the very fabric of this United States. But what if, facing persistent systemic challenges, escalating racial tensions, and a desire for self determination, a significant portion of the Black population chose to just up and leave? What would be the ripple effects on American politics, economics, and our shared humanity? Join me as we dive into a thought experiment exploring the potential consequences of the so-called hypothetical Black Exodus. Now, this isn't about advocating for or against such a movement. It's about exploring the potential consequences politically, economically, and perhaps most importantly, on the very soul of America. Now, throughout American history, Black people have navigated periods of immense hardship, struggle, and resilience. From the Great Migration, driven by the promise of economic opportunity and escape from the Jim Crow South, to the ongoing fight today for racial justice, the pursuit of a better life has often involved very difficult choices. Now, while a mass exodus may seem improbable, understanding the historical context of Black migration and the persistent challenges faced by Black Americans today provides a crucial foundation for our discussion. Now, let's start with the political landscape. Black Americans make up roughly about 13% of the US population, if memory serves correct. But their distribution is not uniform. States like Mississippi, Georgia, Maryland, and others have significantly higher percentages. The Democratic Party, the Dems, relies heavily on these Black voters. Now, a significant decrease in this demographic could flip traditionally blue states red, handing electoral power to the Republican Party in ways that we have not seen in a very long time. Now, conversely, in some southern states, a Black exodus could actually weaken conservative strongholds, potentially opening doors for progressive movements. It is a political earthquake with unpredictable aftershocks. Now, consider this. States with large Black populations, like I mentioned, like Georgia and North Carolina and Michigan, have seen razor thin election margin in recent years. A Black exodus that could solidify Republican control in some of those areas, while simultaneously creating new opportunities for progressive movements in other regions. Now, beyond the voting patterns, the absence of Black voices in political discourse could lead to policies that would disproportionately affect marginalized communities. Black representation in Congress, in state legislatures, city councils, all of that would plummet. It would silence crucial voices and perspectives. The fight for civil rights and social justice would face a major setback, potentially reversing years upon years of progress. Representation matters, and a diminished Black presence could weaken the fight for civil rights, criminal justice reform, and economic equality. Now, this isn't about partisan politics. It's about the fundamental principles of fairness and inclusion in a democracy, if that's what we want to call ourselves. Now, let's talk about the economy. Black Americans are integral to the workforce, contributing significantly to various sectors of this workforce. A mass departure would create significant labor shortages, particularly in industries like healthcare, education, transportation, and the service sector. Black owned businesses, which often serve as anchors in their communities, could face devastating losses. Industries that rely heavily on our labor, on Black labor, if you look at it, you can tell. Healthcare, they're your nurses, transportation, your bus drivers, the service sector, your waiters and waitresses could experience significant disruptions. Furthermore, the loss of Black talent and innovation could stifle economic growth and competitiveness. Black entrepreneurs and professionals have made invaluable contributions to American innovation, and their absence will be felt across various sectors. Imagine, if you will, hospitals full of patients struggling to find nurses and doctors, schools packed with students facing teacher shortages, and businesses unable to fill essential roles. This would lead to decreased productivity, supply chain disruptions, and potentially higher prices for consumers. Now, it is crucial to acknowledge the existing wealth gap and the systemic barriers that have historically limited Black economic growth and advancement. A Black exodus could exacerbate these inequalities, leaving behind a society even more divided along racial lines. Looking past politics and economics, a Black exodus would leave a gaping hole in America's cultural fabric. Black culture is interwoven into the very fabric of American identity, from music and art to literature and cuisine. Black contributions have shaped our national narrative. Imagine a United States without the influence of jazz, blues, hip hop, or gospel music. Think of the void left by the absence of Black writers, artists, and intellectuals. The cultural landscape would be irrevocably altered. The loss of Black communities would diminish the diversity and the vibrancy of the melting pot that is American society. Black neighborhoods are often centers of cultural exchange and social connection, and their absence would weaken the bonds that hold us together. The stories of resilience, resistance, struggle, and triumph over adversity, all of those stories would be silenced, leaving these future generations grabbing at straws with an incomplete and distorted understanding of American history, especially with the erasing of certain aspects of American history. This isn't just about losing cultural traditions, it's about losing the unique perspectives and experiences that enrich our collective understanding of America and the world around us. Now, ultimately, the most significant consequence of a Black exodus would be the human cost. The decision to leave one's home is never easy and is often driven by a desperation and a lack of opportunity. Can you imagine the pain of leaving behind family, friends, and community? Can you consider the challenges of starting over in a new country or region? The emotional toll, psychological toll, would be immense. Furthermore, a Black exodus would represent a profound failure of the American experiment. It would force America to confront its history of racial injustice and its failure to create a truly equitable society. It would signal that the promise of equality and opportunity remains a farce, unfulfilled for a significant portion of this population. This is a moral issue that demands our attention and action. The Exodus would also raise serious ethical questions about the responsibility of a nation to protect its people, its citizens, and ensure their well being. It would be a stark reminder that true progress requires more than just legal equality. It demands a commitment to social justice, a commitment to economic opportunity, and a commitment to genuine inclusion. Now, again, this video is not about advocating for a Black exodus. We're not going to build Wakanda. It's about using this hypothetical scenario to spark a crucial conversation. It is essential to remember that a Black exodus is not inevitable. There are alternative solutions that can address the systemic challenges faced by Black Americans. So, what can we do as individuals and as a society to address the underlying issues that might lead people to consider such a drastic measure? Shout out Pan Africanism. How can we create a nation where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to reach their full potential? What can we do? Well, we can start off by investing in education, not cutting the funding, promoting economic opportunity, reforming the criminal justice system, and combating racial discrimination. These are all crucial steps towards creating a more just and equitable society. It just demands honest reflection and meaningful action. We must listen to the voices of Black Americans. Not all Black Americans, because trust me, a lot of them ain't got shit to say. But we need to amplify their concerns and work together to build a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Now, this requires a commitment to empathy, understanding, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Because you know what? The time for action is right now. The question of a Black exodus forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about American society. It's a reminder that the pursuit of equality is an ongoing process and that we must remain vigilant in our efforts to create a more perfect union. Let us work together to build a future where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to reach their full potential. Now, whether we stay or go, let the world know Black America is not a minority. Black America is a force. And maybe, just maybe, it's time Black America stopped asking for a seat at the table and started building our own. This was This Week Uncensored. Subscribe, share, and wake up somebody.